Hi, how are you doing? Welcome to another reading vlog. Today we're gonna try and finish some series. I did a reading vlog like ages ago, finishing like some of my favorite series, so like series that I loved the previous books from. And since then I have done videos in which I tried to make progress in series. Recently I did my 24 hours of sequels, so a 24-hour readathon in which I tried to read as many sequels as possible because I am really bad at finishing series. But lately I've seen a couple of booktubers do this kind of a video where they just every so often do a reading vlog in which they just try and make progress or finish up series that they're in the middle of, and I thought that would be fun to do as well. I am gonna focus on finishing up series in these kind of vlogs, and that's what we're gonna be doing today. I currently have quite a lot of series finales on my TBR, so I think it would be fun to try and finish some up. So this is my series spreadsheet. It's called the big series spreadsheet, but honestly it's not a whole lot going on in this one. So I have this tab which says all my ongoing series. So these are series that I'm currently in the middle of, and I'm also planning on at least continuing on. Maybe at some point with the series I might decide to DNF them, but currently these are the series I'm in the middle of and I plan to finish. I am up to date with some of these, but most of them I am not, and I still have many books to read. But like I said, today we're focusing on the series that I need to finish. I'm currently in the middle of 43, so it's quite a bit. And then down here I have a tally for every year that I've been using Goodreads. I haven't had this spreadsheet for that long, but I can very easily go back to my Goodreads to kind of like check these earlier years. But this is just all of the series that I finished within that year. So for this year we're only on 7 series, which honestly I want to be much more, but if we compare to 2023 there is only like 16, so I'm already like about the halfway mark of that, and we are halfway through the year, so it's not that terrible. And hopefully in this video we can add a lot more books, like a lot more series to this list, because that's the ultimate goal. That's why we're gonna be doing this video. But let's first kind of talk about the TBR for this video. This is not like a set TBR because there are quite a lot of books and I don't think I'll be able to get to all of them this video, but these are just kind of like series finales that are currently on my TBR. I just went to the library, so I have 2. One is The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black, which is the second book in this duology. I don't know the specific name for it. I think it's just called the Soul and Air duology because that's the first book, but it might have a different name. And then I also have been reading this series entirely from the library, and that's Bridge of Souls by Schwab. This is the last book in the Cassidy Blake trilogy. And then when it comes to my physical TBR, I also have 3 books currently. The one I'm most excited for is The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. This is the final book in Mistborn Era 1, so technically not like the final book in the series because Mistborn spans many eras, but most people they do split up the series within the different eras, which I'm also doing. So this is the 3rd book in like a trilogy that sense. We also have Warstorm by Victoria Aveyard, which is book 4 in the Red Queen series, and as you just might have seen on my spreadsheet, this series has been on its list for the longest, so I definitely need to wrap things up. So hopefully I'll be able to do that as well, but that's quite a chunk of a book. And we also have Dark Harmony by Thalassa, which is the final book in the Bargainer series. I read book 2 fairly recently and I enjoyed it much more than I expected. I've been a bit mixed on book 1, so I thought it would be great to finish up this series now that I'm still like in a good feelings about it. And then on for an ebook, I do have Kingdom of Ash currently lent out from the library, which is the last book in the Throne of Glass series, so I would also like to finish up that series, but again that's quite a chunk of a book. And yeah, that brings us to 6 books total for this video, which would be a lot. I don't know I will get around to all of them for this videos, but that shows that I have a lot of series finales on my current TBR, but we'll see how things go. I've decided to start this video with Bridge of Souls by Schwab, just because this is a bit of a shorter one and I flew through the first 2 books in the series and I thought it would be a great kickstart to the video. Hi, so I'm here because I finished Bridge of Souls by Schwab. This did not take me long to read at all. It's a very short book, like it's a middle grade pretty large text. So I'm still looking forward to this. This is another 3-star, just like the other books in a series. I do have to say that this is my least favorite in the series, so I'll pop up a little graphic about my thoughts on the series that I made for like my reading journal, because I don't do like series discussion videos anymore. I just didn't really like doing them anymore, so I thought that way you can still get a little overview of what I thought of the series. But I think this is my least favorite, just mainly because, I mean, Cassidy has never been like the smartest tool in the shed, you know, the sharpest tool in the shed, but she has not been this stupid. Like, she is generally so stupid in this book, and like common sense just flies out of the window, and that got on my nerves at times. And I also just thought the ending was just a little bit anticlimactic, and I don't know, but unrealistically positive, if that makes sense. Like, I know it's a middle grade. I don't expect this to end like very, very sad, but it was just a bit too much, if that makes sense. But that being said, this was still a very fun, quick read, very spooky. I think these books very much deliver like that atmosphere. This one, I just felt transported to like these locations. I felt like eeriness, which I just really, really liked. And I feel the same about this book as I did the other two in the series, just like in general, where I feel like if I would have been, I mean, these books came out after I was the target demographic for it, but if I read these and I was a target demographic for it, I feel like I would have ate them up, I would have loved them, I would have become obsessed with them. But now that I'm older, they are really fun, quick reads, but they like aren't anything like too memorable or like too, like anything that sticks out too much in my memory, if that makes sense. Hi, so I read The President's Throne by Holly Black, so I thought I'd talk to you about it. This is the second and final book in the Stolen Air duology, which is a spin-off duology from the Folk of the Air trilogy, so I can't tell you too much about this. All I can say, it's YA fantasy, it's fae, and in this series in particular we follow Oak, which if you're familiar with the Folk of the Air, you know who Oak is. I read the first book in the duology last year, and my reading my most anticipated books video, and I wasn't the biggest fan of that one, but I still wanted to conclude this duology because, you know, I love the Folk of the Air, and I thought, you know, this is in addition to that world, to these characters, I should finish it. It's a duology, so what's the harm? And honestly, while reading this book, I considered DNFing it multiple times, and I just didn't do it because I wanted to be able to cross this off the list. And again, it feels nice to have this world like properly completed. This ended up being a 1-star. I'm so sorry. This was so boring. I already didn't care about these characters in the first book, but I feel like this one also did me no favors. And this one we follow Oak in particular. We get his POV actually. I think he's such a bland character, and when it comes to him, there's a lot of telling and not showing. Like, we are told constantly about how he's charming and he has this dangerous streak that nobody knows about, and like he actually is like pretty messed up, but like we don't actually get to see any of that. He's just like bland piece of paper. Like, I don't know, I could tell you nothing about Oak. That's just how bland he is as a character, and following him was just so boring. And also just like nothing happened in this book. It mainly focuses on the romance, and I just don't care about that either at all. So all of the intrigue about that, I just like could not give a shit. And then just towards like the last 50 pages or so, we do get a bit more plot heavy, but that just, it kind of felt stupid. I kind of felt like it came out of nowhere, even though it technically didn't. Like, it did get set up a little bit earlier on in the book, but it feels like such a last minute thing that was thrown in, and it wasn't that well executed in my opinion, and I just really disliked my time reading this book. Hi, so I haven't been updating you a little bit, so I thought I'd just update you on the next 2 books in tandem, because it just, I don't know, I haven't been feeling like getting in front of the camera lately, just because of several circumstances that I won't get into soon. So there you go. It's not as great vlogging material, but oh well. And since I last talked to you, I finished 2 more books that finish up series, so I thought I'd talk to you about them all, starting off with Warstorm by Victoria Aveyard. This is probably my biggest achievement for this video. I don't care what else happens, because like I said in the intro, this book has been, like, this series has been on my TBR, I guess, for the longest. It's been at the top of my spreadsheet. So being able to cross this one off felt so satisfactory. But even besides that, this was a 4-star, which was such a surprise to me because I've had such mixed opinions on like book 2 and 3. So I was very nervous going into this one, especially because it's also massive. So, you know, with being bored by book 2 and 3, I thought chances were high with this much page length I would be bored again, but I was not. I flew through this book. I had so much fun reading it. It's a bit more on like the political intrigue side reading wise, so if that's not your thing, you might not like this one, but I had such a fun time reading it. Because I also love that kind of stuff, so I thought this was just great. We also get a lot of different POVs in this one, and I feel like it's done so well. We're constantly in the right POV at the right time, and it just kept us fresh and reading like very fun. And I don't know, I like getting to see so many different sides to the conflict in this book, and I thought it was so interesting. I also thought it was just really well done as a series finale. I do think the ending is a bit abrupt. Like, the epilogue takes place 5 seconds after the last chapter, and I feel like if we just like extended the time to like a month after, I feel like it could have gotten me that closure that I wanted from this. But overall, like, a really great series conclusion, and I am sad that this is over, just because it's been a part of my life for so long. But I am also so glad that it's finally over, you know. And then the other book that I read is The Good, the Bad, and the Aunties by Sutanto. And, you know, I included this in my vlog last year, I think, where I finished up duologies because I thought the second book in the series was going to be the end. I thought this was a duology. It's not. It's a trilogy. So this time it's for real. Unless for some reason Jessica Sutanto is going to add on books, which I really hope she doesn't, because I feel like I didn't like this one. Because, no offense, this is a 2-star. The first book I absolutely adored. It's one of my favorite reads of that year that I read it in. And then book 2 was a step down, but I still really enjoyed my time reading it. And then this one was just a snooze fest. I am sorry, it wasn't good. I felt like it missed that sparkle that book 1 and 2 had, especially when it comes to the characterization. I feel like our main character Maddie just became insufferable to read about. Low offense. I don't know, I really don't like her in this book. And then the aunties just kind of like lost their special charm for me. I also feel like they were a bit interchangeable in this book, which is annoying because they are very distinctive personalities, but just for some reason in this book that wasn't the case. And I don't know, I also thought the plot of this one was so ridiculous and like over the top, and I feel like every book has been like that, but I don't know, I had a hard time going on with it in this one, which I haven't had for the series yet. So I don't know, I'm glad it's done, because this just felt like the passion was gone, you know. So yeah, there you go. I only have one more book left for this video. So I finished 5 series. It's Dark Harmony by Thalassa, which is the final book in the Bargainer series. That's the final one I'll be reading for this video. So I finished my final book for this video, Dark Harmony by Thalassa, and I'm gonna give it a 2-star. So it's a step down from the previous book in the series. Basically, how the series has gone is I have not liked the romance in this at all. It's fantasy romance, but the romance in this has always given me the most massive ick, and I haven't liked it. And then the storyline, the fantasy storyline, has intrigued me quite a bit, which is why book 1 was a 2-star, because that was mostly romance focused, and book 2 was like a mix of the two, and I liked that much more, and I gave it 3 stars. But, you know, still wasn't my favorite because the romance still gave me the ick. And then this book was supposed to be more plot focused, and I guess it was, but I just think that the direction we took things in this book, I didn't really like that much. I feel like we went on a couple of, like, quite a lot of side tangents at the beginning that just felt completely unnecessary. So I wasn't the biggest fan of that. And then just, I feel like the last bit kind of dragged out a little and feel like could have been resolved quicker. I also feel like the stakes were incredibly low. Like, I never felt the tension within this book, which I also thought was a shame. And I also just think that these characters are kind of a little bit stupid. Like, there's a couple of times in this book where things are supposed to be like this big reveal that a character has realized something, and I was like, Yeah, it's been obvious this entire time. Why are you acting so surprised about it? Am I missing something? And yeah, something I did really like in this book is the main character, Callie. I feel like she's been hit or miss for me in the previous books, as in I didn't hate her, but also wasn't really the biggest fan of her. But I feel like she really comes into her strength and her badassery in this book. I feel like in book 1 and 2, she feels like she's supposed to be like an edgy, badass character, but just something about it is missing. This book definitely, like, she comes into her powers fully and she embraces more the darker side of her, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. The romance, I still don't care for, and there was a lot of sex in this book, which I also did not care for, but overall I do still think the world and the plot kind of is interesting. I just think this could have been better executed. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this reading vlog. I would say it was a success, even if my ratings might not look that way. I just realized that they were almost all negative in this vlog, but I finished 5 more series. I'm capping this video off at 5 because I've been filming this video for a month and a half now. And it's way longer than I originally set out for this vlog, but to be fair, life circumstances also got in the way, which is why it took so long. I also think 5 books is a pretty number for a vlog, so I'm sorry for not getting to some of the books that I originally talked about in my intro, but I'll be reading those soon anyway, so if you just stick around, maybe you'll see me read them in another vlog or just in a wrap-up. Could also be. Let's just quickly go over the 5 series I finished in this vlog because I'm so proud of myself for doing that. So the first book that I read in this vlog was The Bridge of Souls by Schwab, which finished the Cassidy Blake's trilogy, and I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. And next I read The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black, which is the second book in the Stolen Heir duology, so it finishes that off, and I gave this 1 out of 5 stars. Then I read War Storm by Victoria Aveyard, which is the final book in the Red Queen series, the 4th and final book, taking off the series that I've been reading for the longest, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, my only success this vlog, really. Then next I read The Good, the Bad, and the Aunties by Jessica Sutanto, which is the 3rd and final book in the Aunties trilogy, and I gave this 3 out of 5 stars too. And then finally I read Dark Harmony by Thalassa, which is the 3rd and final book in the Bargainer series, and I gave this 2 stars as well. So yeah, like I said, ratings wise, not the best video I've ever done, but I feel so accomplished after reading all 5 of these books and ticking off all these series. And I'm definitely doing a video like this in the future sometimes because it feels so good. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you read any of these books, what you thought of them, as well as some of your series finales that you need to read desperately. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Good. Here I am again, the same old situation. Why does the God thing have to be so complicated?